Ryan pushing the button.
Yay.
Wednesday show. There we go.
Yay, we're back.
You're the best. Oh, my goodness. Hi, Mrs. Ryan. Welcome back.
Hello, hello.
Hello, everybody else. Welcome back to the old Late Night Playset. Here we go. Bring some things in here. Get scooched in. Let's see. Tonight is Wednesday, December 11th, 2019. My name is Jay Ryan. This is Nicole Ryan. We are the Ryans. And as I mentioned, this is Late Night Playset. We've got a guest this evening. Mr. Jordan Brady is here. We have been trying to get him here for quite a while. We've had a couple reschedules, I think, on both sides for a variety of reasons. But once he finally walked in the door today, I go, boy, that guy looks familiar. I think we may have worked together. I think we've actually worked together, and we figured out at a creative company way back when for a commercial.
It's so amazing how our worlds circle around each other all the time.
Small world. So we've been shooting the shit ever since, and we're going to do more of that when he gets in here. But cars and talk show history. He's got a lot of comedy history. I said cars. I meant comedy. Sorry about that. All right, Mrs. Ryan, back to this. I've only got a couple hellos to do. How about you? What's going on with you?
Same. Nothing new.
Really? I like your TLG shirt.
Thanks,
I have we haven't been doing the viewer mail on the show just because people have been, how often can you open things? But this was kind of this is a little bit bigger and nicer than just anything. So I wanted to do it on the show, and I'm looking at my phone here because it's from, all right, here we go. Indie Fabulous. Now, we met Indie Fabulous when we did that 914 event for 000 magazine. Not when we went to it, when we were went to it at Photos by Teach's house. But he sent, remember we met somebody at the end of the night? He goes, this is funny. Hi there, my name is Gary Smith, and I met you towards the end of the 000 event at TJ's house. You were chatting with blah, 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 blah. I'd like to, long story short, I am the former CEO of Polar Tech, recently sold it, and one of my customers is Sasha Prost, son of Elaine, 4-time F1 championship. Sasha has a motorsports-inspired clothing brand called 8JS. Check it out. And he gave me a link, and he sent us a jacket, which is pretty darn nice. It's like a parka.
Yeah.
And really good for winter, but it's got cool racing gear.
And
it's it's really nice. And it's not just a, you know what I mean? I felt like I wanted to put this on the show because it was nicer than I was expecting. Hey, I want to send you a jacket. Like, okay, sure, no problem. Like, here's the address. This is a very high quality item.
It looks really warm.
Nice garment. So thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Gary, for that. Very cool. And see how that all works out, Mrs. Ryan. If we like it, maybe they've got a ladies' size. We'll see. We'll figure that out.
Thanks, Gary. We'll let you know.
And then the only other thing was I was poking around the system here earlier, and I noticed something that they did an update. Haven't figured out a way to incorporate it into the show just yet, but I have a feeling you and I probably will, because. Tell me if you think we can use this for any point, for any purposes. Now, I'm thinking we could probably come up with questions and do an actual little quiz. Oh, you've got a bell there, and we could get a bell here. Or, just zingers, or how many times Mrs. Ryan is interrupted by me. Let's see. We're going to have to keep going high on that one. Higher and higher and higher. You get it. So, buttons.
That's a cool button.
Trust you to come up with some reasons to use that. So there we go. Jacket, scoreboard. I'm done. I've got an East Coast feed to play. How about you? Anything else?
I've been having a love fest for you all morning.
For me?
For you. I get to relive when we fell in love all over again, all the time. Every time there's a Ghostbusters, anything, there's new love for some stuff that you did way back in the day, and I got to talk about it this morning.
Really?
Yes. Yes. With some reporters I deal with, and
oh my goodness gracious! All right, anything I should know?
No, not yet.
Okay,
it's
pretty
all
exciting.
part of this big story we're we're part of.
I know. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what you all do with it. We didn't do this yesterday, and we have to because we got this may be related. Mrs. Ryan, pushing the button. Yep. There you go. It's Dave Watch 2019. This calendar is sponsored by Hunziker Design. Thank you very much. Today is December 11th, and I'm going to put an X on December 11th on this calendar, denoting that Mr. David Letterman is not sitting in that chair. However, if you've been paying attention, we've been making a lot of progress in our quest to get Dave here. Mrs. Ryan, where are we at?
We're still in the maybe there's meetings to happen stage, and I'm meeting with ancillary folks that we've talked to over the years about this. And like I said, the Ghostbusters video attention helps all that.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, so that's what it is? Somebody saw the video? The Ghostbusters video?
One of the writers I talked to months ago was actually in Vancouver at the
when they were shooting in the movie.
Yeah, at the Ghostbusters thing. And so it came up organically that you know Dan Aykroyd. And why do you know him? Because you did you built the car and you did something with this vodka company.
I helped out with a lot of that stuff.
You did, yes, you helped out at events that he was at and his...
Yeah, I produced some stuff and yeah, whatever. Yeah, all that stuff will come out.
It's all part of this big story.
I don't know Dan Aykroyd. I can't call Dan Aykroyd and be like, yo, Danny.
I know that you're not buddies, but in the grander scheme of life, we're much closer to certain things than
there was
other
a time.
people.
Yeah, there was a time in my life where Back to the Future and Ghostbusters and stuff like that was pretty big.
This morning was a big separate the men from the boys moment, and this is part of the move pushing us up echelon.
I love you, Mrs. Ryan. That was very cool of you to say all that. It made me feel good. Thank you. I appreciate it. It also gives me something to latch onto because, we're always moving forward, but we're moving forward in the same direction always, but like this with every iron leading. It's not just one. So you never know what's going to hit, and you never know, if all the effort you're putting in is worth it. It's easy to get down on yourself. It's very easy to get down on yourself.
I don't want you to because I think you're so adorable, and I get to watch videos of you all the time.
I love you. You're very nice. All right, let's put the sap away. Zap the sap. East Coast feed, Mrs. Ryan. Roll it out.
East Coast feed.
Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Ryan. It's Brooke, the Carrot Man, and Coraline. Coraline, what are we getting here tonight?
We got Dorothy, and I want to bring her home.
We got a Dorothy ornament. We're going to bring her home. And we're at... I'm very excited. We're at Stu Leonard's, Mr. Ryan. Getting our Christmas tree on our tradition. And as you can see, someone's full of energy, piss and vinegar. You want to say goodbye to Jay and Nicole?
Goodbye, Nicole.
There you go. How about Merry Christmas? You tell Merry
Christmas.
There we go. We love you guys. Bye.
Holy crap. Get that kid a candy cane. Holy smokes. So they're at, I wonder if I have it in here. I don't know if I do. I bet I can get it real quick. Here we go. This will be worth it. It is here. Here we go. This Christmas tree, which I just posted on Instagram. This is my first, this was 1997, I believe. Christmas of 97. This is in Danbury, Connecticut. And that Christmas tree had come from the same place, Stu Leonard's, where they were in that video.
That's where the tree.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
My first Porsche. 1986
I love
Turbo.
that picture. Now I can
just posted it yesterday.
I know, and I get to look at it like I watch videos of you.
Oh, you're the best. Mrs. Ryan, that's all the stuff I have to do. It's time to ask the question that's on everyone's mind. What's going on, Mrs. Ryan?
You know that Good Times live action thing we watched?
What? Good Times live action thing.
Live action on the family. Good Time.
Many different things here. Yes, Jimmy Kimmel did a thing, and it was All in the Family and the Jeffersons.
Okay, well, there's another one coming out this month that's Good Times.
Nice. Dynamite. Jimmy J.J. Walker.
Oh, that's that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they're doing that one and another All in the Family. So the four that were in that are coming back. Woody Harrelson.
He was Archie Bunker. Yeah, that was great. And Marissa Tomei was Edith.
Yeah. So Ike Barinholtz was one, and
right. I think he might have been Meathead.
Ellie Kemper is the
Good.
fourth one. But so this new one coming out, the next installment, Kevin Bacon.
As
I don't remember.
In one of the old family. Oh, sure, that makes
But
sense.
in the next installment, Justina Machado, who we both have worked
Love
with
her, yeah.
and love, and just
She's on One Day at a Time
One
now,
Day
right?
at a
On
Time.
Pop Network.
also with Norman Lear. It's all
Love it.
connected.
Love it.
Very happy. I can't wait to see her. And then Jesse Eisenberg is going to be the third new person.
No kidding. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's a big deal.
Yeah. It'll be December 18th, I guess, is the next one.
What's the name of it? They called it some Live Before a Studio Audience?
Yes.
Is that what it was called? Mm-hmm. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Can't wait for the next one. Okay, this is about a movie that I don't know enough about, but I know you do. Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Love that movie.
Do you know who wrote that movie?
I think it's Tim Robbins. I mean, Tim Robbins. Tim Burton, right?
It was his first. It was
he directed
his directorial debut. Phil Hartman
Oh, I did know that. I forgot.
and the guy that played
And
Pee-wee.
Paul Rubens, yeah.
I did not know Phil Hartman
Captain
was
Carl.
involved in this in any way.
Captain Carl.
That's him?
The sea captain. Yeah. Hold it up to your ear. Oh, okay. Not your ear, your ear. It was kind of an adult show in the beginning. Actually, do you know about that, Jordan? Do you remember the original Pee-wee's Playhouse, the stage show?
Oh, of course.
Or Pee-wee Herman show or whatever it was called. It wasn't Pee-wee's Playhouse yet. That was the kids' show. But do you remember Captain Carl was and Lawrence Fishburne was on it too?
Lawrence Fishburne, I remember.
As
I remember Captain Carl, though.
he was Cowboy Curtis and Captain Carl was
So
Phil
much
Hartman.
I don't know. Well, anyway, what's his name? Paul Rubens
Yep.
is going to take the movie on tour for its 35th anniversary.
How cool.
To 20
Like
cities.
taking a print around the cities.
Taking a print and going to do like a Q&A afterward of like untold stories.
It's a great LA movie if anybody likes, like Speed. There's so many great locations.
Really?
Yeah. Everything's around here. All the dinosaurs are out in Kazaban, and the bus station is the Glendale. It's Disney over there, the Glendale animation.
I did not watch this movie, and so this is all. I did not know about Phil Hartman. That makes me want to watch it.
Phil Hartman is not in the movie. I can say that for sure. I mean,
One of the stories I read that I know Paul's going to talk a lot about is how this movie came to be. It wasn't originally him on a bike until he was writing something else, and the people on that movie gave him a bike.
no way.
Yeah, and that's how that happened.
I love those stories.
Yeah.
'Cause the whole thing is about the bike.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah. It's how every creative thing comes together.
You know who you do like is in it, but he's only for a cameo at the very, very end. But he's young and very, very handsome. Who's the guy you like from My Life in James Brolin?
He's in it.
Yeah, he's got a cameo as he plays Pee-wee Herman in the movie at the end. It's great.
Oh,
Package for Mr. Herman.
No, nothing right now, Mr. Herman.
well, I can't wait to watch that. Then that'll be on tour next year. A patent has been filed by Tesla, Elon Musk, whatever, for lasers to clean the glass parts of cars.
I saw that instead of windshield wipers, right?
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about it, but I like that there's a patent in that direction. It's just curious.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing when you realize we live in the future, right?
Yeah. And then I had to...
And that the past doesn't exist anymore. What we used to have is the present. It's like gone. We just all live in the future.
Doesn't
now.
matter. And if you're not actually driving, like what moves things out of the way is not as real. It's so weird to think about, but so that's the direction that's going. Okay. Lastly, though, Alaska Airlines. I haven't flown in a long time, and apparently they've done this before. But on the 20th, they're gonna allow free priority boarding to anyone with the ugly Christmas sweater.
Oh my gosh. That's cool though. It shows everybody
Celebrate
gets
this season,
everybody
man.
gets the spirit
Like,
together.
Yeah, everyone's doing their part, and that's what I'm celebrating out of all this. Like, it's just crazy times. We all talked about it earlier, too. So everyone can do their little piece.
I love it. I think that's great. Why
Yeah.
not?
Why not?
And that's been What's Going On, Mrs. Ryan? Dun, 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 dun. Great job, Mrs. Ryan. All right, right on time. Let's take a quick break. Get
Okay.
Jordan Brady in here to talk about all the things. Probably not too much about cars, unless are you into cars at all?
Not particularly.
Not particularly.
I shoot a lot of car commercials.
Yeah, that's true.
Hundreds.
Hundreds and hundreds of car commercials. That's awesome. He'll be in here in just a few minutes. We'll talk about all this stuff. More to come. Late Night Playset will be back right after this.
Oh, so delicious. It's the hot sauce made by bears. Garlic and serrano mixed with love and care. You can put it on your eggs, pour it on your rice. It's great on a leg, it's better on a slice. It's oh so delicious. It's the hot sauce made by bears. Oh, so delicious hot sauce. Great on everything except oatmeal.
Get your bottle today at osodelicious.org. $1 from every bottle sold goes to the National Military Family Association. Oh, like this. Like this.
As if you don't know what you're
Right?
doing.
Is that good?
As if.
Nerd.
As if.
I don't want to be too close, though, right?
And here we are. We're sitting here with Mr. Jordan Brady. We're back, everybody. We're back.
Hey.
It's official.
Yippee,
How you
yippee.
doing, man?
Oh, I'm just loving the show. I'm loving the energy, the rapport between the two of you. This is just so fun to be here. Thank you.
You're
awesome.
so pleasant. I can't believe you're here. And when you walked in, I go, I know that face. I know that face. We've worked together once before.
Yes, we did.
That's so
We
funny.
did. It was through one of the advertising companies.
Yeah.
I say company. Some people say agencies.
Agency,
But they do everything, and it was a great
Full
time.
360. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I just thought of as I was watching the beginning of the show.
No.
I'm not a Porsche guy. I don't have a Porsche. I rented one time. But my sister and my brother-in-law live in Germany, and they've bought their Porsches from the factory.
Wow.
The real, like
The
the
real,
Mecca.
yeah,
Oh my.
like a couple times. And when we get on that Autobahn, my brother-in-law Joe, who I love, he's probably watching. Joe, I love you. He will fly.
On the back of Mrs. Ryan's jacket here is the symbol for the Autobahn.
That's what that is.
Yeah, that circle with the
Really?
lines.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
There it is.
That's it.
Woohoo, there we go.
That's fabulous.
Good job, Mrs. Ryan.
Bringing it all together.
I'll look at it later.
Do you fancy yourself a writer, a director? You're not. Do you still perform? Are you still a comedian?
Well, that's a question. I actually had to correct my Wikipedia page that someone put up because it says, is an American director was a stand-up comedian. Like it was was a stand-up comedian. I was a stand-up comedian back in the first comedy boom and paved the way for many things. But, I mean, I do it once or twice a year. And I did a stint a couple of years ago. I did like a little mini tour performing for the troops.
Oh, that's great.
And that became a documentary called I Am Battle Comic, available on iTunes or wherever you
Saw
download.
that on your bio. Was that with USO or American Comedy or American Forces Network, whatever?
Armed Forces Entertainment.
Armed Forces Entertainment. Okay.
Yeah, and they service like USO tours as well. And I went with a great group of guys. It was such a blast.
Who'd you go with?
I went with Don Barnhart, put it together, Slade Ham, Jeff Capri, and Bob Kubota.
Wow.
And Bob Kubota I've known, and Don for 30 years.
They're names that have been around.
Yeah.
Wow. Mrs. Ryan has been done some USO stuff as well. You went with
Really?
the Today Show. You went to Afghanistan with Jay Leno and a bunch of people. Eliza Schlesinger. And
A lot, yeah. Kevin Eubanks and
Craig
Al Roker and Craig was there, yeah.
she went to
Oh, that's
Afghanistan.
fun. You went to Bagram Air Force Base.
Yeah.
That's where I went. I mean, that's really the only place you can go in Afghanistan.
It's where you go.
Yeah.
And then you,
I wanted Eliza to be in that documentary. She's in my first documentary on stand-up comedy called I Am Comic. That's available on iTunes or wherever you download.
So good.
But I couldn't work it out with her because she blew up.
yeah,
Mrs.
right
Ryan, I got a
after
picture
we.
there. Look at that.
Look at that.
That's. I love
at
that
you.
photo. Yeah, she blew up right after that. I love her. She's amazing.
That's all right.
Is that Craig Robinson?
Mhm, That's
Oh,
who I
he's
was
so
there
funny.
with
He's
you,
so
yeah.
funny, yeah.
Such a
He's one of my
funny
favorites.
dude.
Look at us. Oh, there we are.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the kind words. You have been so stinking nice since you got here. I feel like the energy is probably bouncing off of you. I think you brought some of it. It's not just us.
I am a conduit for a good time. I don't claim to spark the good time. It just channels through me.
Okay.
And I try to live life like that.
So
I
you're
try to
saying
be
there was a
present.
good time happening here, and you're just
And I brought more in. I threw logs on your good vibe fire. I brought some kindling of love, and here we are.
I like it.
Well, talking shop a little bit, you mentioned that when you were a comedian, it was during one of the comedy booms.
Yeah, the first comedy boom.
We were having a brief discussion right before we started taping. Can you maybe extrapolate that a little bit and what you mean, and for other people who maybe don't know about the comedy booms?
Well, there were obviously comedians in the 50s that were opening for bands and doing nightclubs, right? And the Playboy Club circuit and all that. If we start comedy for the modern viewer with Carlin and Pryor, and I picked those
fair.
two because they're the real pillars of the modern stand-up. And there's other greats. Then the boom really happened because that was 60s and 70s, really the 70s. But in the 80s, with cable television and comedy clubs and people going, hey, I want to go to a club in my town. There were never clubs in Birmingham, Alabama until the 80s. So that boom allowed for other comedians to fester, right?
Percolate a little bit.
Percolate. And I'm a product of that. I started in Richmond, Virginia. Like, why was there a comedy club in Richmond, Virginia?
Did?
Is that where you're from?
I spent some time there. Yeah, it was they
That's
opened up
a comedian. Spend some time in Richmond.
They opened up a club in the basement of a British pub.
That's what it was, right?
Yeah, so it was a low ceiling. You could grab the sewer bar or whatever that pipe is.
Sounds like the townhouse in Venice now.
It was so great. It was so great. And then comedy became a little more polished. The presentation of comedy in clubs. And
Was that because of TV or just how the art was going?
I think it was because of television.
Because A&E at the Improv, Comedy Strip Live, or Comic Strip Live, there were so many TV shows where we were kids not going to the clubs like you, but we were watching it on television, becoming fans of comedy.
And that's what killed the first boom.
Television.
When it got to be, hey, I can go see that guy that I saw on Showtime's Comedy on the Road at the Chuckle Hut. By the way, Chuckle Hut is the go-to fictional comedy club. I don't think there's ever been a club called the Chuckle Hut, but every comedian says the Chuckle Hut.
The
right?
ha-ha hole.
The ha hole. That's a good one. And so then the scales tipped the other way when people would go, well, why do I want to go out and get a sitter and have 2 drinks and get some fried food when I can just watch them on any one? Like, I can click the channel and see a comedian every other click. So then
This
the clubs
is the 80s
started to
we're
die.
talking about,
Late
into the
80s
90s,
now.
yeah.
Late 80s into the 90s. And then I think there was a second boom around the millennium, the late 90s to the early 2000s, when Comedy Central was showing a lot of stand-up and they started producing stand-up again. You saw a lot of Comedy Central Presents and these half-hour specials.
Yes, the half-hour special was born.
So that would be the second boom around the late 90s. And then in the last 20 years, it's interesting to me because I'm a comedy nerd, right?
Yeah.
Is it a third boom that we're still in, or is it kind of a fourth boom?
Oh, I see.
Right? With the Netflix special. So we're in the Netflix boom.
I'm worried that would do what television did, which is kill the going to the comedy club. Or is it having the opposite effect these days?
Well, I don't have the answer. I'm no soothsayer, but I do think
You're so well informed.
that the middle class has been killed. So you have a lot of comedians doing open mics and bringer shows where you have to seduce your friends to paying to go out and
Pay to play, yeah.
Yeah, it's pay to play like it was with bands. But then the upper class are doing theaters and some arenas. Like look at Kevin Hart. Look at Dave Chappelle. They can fill.
We've both worked with both of them.
They can fill Madison Square Garden.
Many nights.
Carnegie Hall.
Several nights.
Dave Chappelle did a residency.
Yeah.
So I think it's crazy. So maybe that's like a little uplift in the third boom.
Well, something you brought up earlier that I found interesting. Way back in the day, there were, I think you said 25 comics, call it that. Or
Sure,
25 people doing the job.
In the 70s, there were probably, by the way, a great podcast. My friend Wayne Fetterman,
He's been here. We love Wayne.
Wayne was on the show?
Sure, we love Wayne.
He hosts the History of Stand-Up.
Okay.
It's a great podcast.
Is that new?
Yeah, it's going to start its third season.
Oh, wow, okay. Gotta check it out.
And then Rich Scheidner, who was a big comedian, HBO specials and whatnot in the 70s, 80s, into the 90s. And Rich is a guy that I followed back to, he had retired from stand-up and was just writing for like 13 years. Mm-hmm. And then I followed him back to doing stand-up again in I Am Comic, available wherever you download your products.
That's right.
Rich Scheidner has a one-man show he's doing about the history of stand-up. And he goes all the way back to, I'm going to get the guy's name wrong, but it's Artemis somebody.
Whoa.
Who was like a student of Mark Twain's.
Oh my Lord.
And he would go around doing funny lectures like Mark Twain did.
Yeah.
And he takes that all the way to the Chappelle era that we're in now. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but it's probably pretty good.
It's a great one-man show. The podcast is great, and it's, I find it interesting.
I grew up a fan of all comedy, but specifically I found like Carson and then Letterman. I found these type of shows, everybody from Cabot, Mike Douglas. I watched them all. Was the Desk and Chairs type of show important to you in any way when you were coming up, loving comedy as a kid? Or
Absolutely.
It was?
Carson was that was Caesar. You live or die.
Right.
With Carson. Yeah. And to be on Carson in the pre-cable comedy era, Carson was
everything,
the sole outlet.
Yeah.
So 3 channels. I'm sure people have talked about this before.
I like hearing you. I know how I feel. I like hearing how other people feel.
If you saw a comedian on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and these clubs are popping up around the country, and you're in Duluth, and that comedian that was on The Johnny Carson Show
coming through
comes to your town, you're like, that's the guy that was on The Johnny Carson Show. And then
everyone in town will come out to this show tonight.
Absolutely.
Right.
The worth of being on television, I think, got watered down when it was, you've seen him on A&E's Evening at the Improv. Like, I was on Evening at the Improv at least 6 times, and twice with Wayne Fetterman as a musical act, because we were so tired of doing stand-up on these shows.
Holy smokes, you had to entertain yourselves.
And you didn't want to burn out material.
Oh, that's the other thing with TV. Yeah.
So we saying it.
Something new.
That's a good point.
The interesting tipping point with that for me, and I never reached the level of people calling out the jokes or punchlines, is I saw Jim Gaffigan in the Hot Pocket phase of his career fill an arena, and people wanted. He told me that in an interview, people actually threw Hot Pockets on the stage.
You saw that, didn't you?
You saw that?
She used to work with him.
I worked with them for a couple years. I heard those stories.
The
too.
Hot Pockets.
I think they were frozen. They weren't microwaved. There'd be a lot of effort.
I think they were still in the package too, but it was like the
got all
Tom Jones in the
kinds.
underwear. It was the same kind of thing. They're throwing up the Hot Pockets.
And then I saw Jeff Foxworthy, probably about 10 years ago, perform in the round, sold out at the Phoenix Arena.
Mm-hmm. Phoenix Dome.
Where he would do the redneck jokes and people would finish them.
Oh my goodness. You don't even need to be there. That's amazing.
But he did, to his credit, he did an hour, in total he did an hour 40.
Oh, I see.
And it was only like 10 minutes of that. So it's like
the crowd probably loved it.
Yeah, it's like doing Purple Rain. Prince would do Purple Rain at the end for the encore. Everyone's singing along.
But it's for them.
I don't think anyone on this show has ever compared Prince and Jeff Foxworthy.
I'm going to have to go back and check the tape.
Yeah.
But you might be right. Okay, so Johnny, sure. But what about Dave or any of the other guys?
Well, David Letterman on NBC.
That's it.
That was the best.
Yeah.
In fact, I stopped watching Carson and would do, crochet or do whatever I did until Letterman came on. And that, just from Stupid Human Tricks and the Velcro suit and
pedestrian races is her favorite.
Yeah.
The ridiculousness. Just bulbs, just lamps, just shades, like all that stuff. Just brilliant.
And his Man on the Street, so dry and funny.
Very Steve Allen.
Yeah.
More so than anyone else, I think.
Yeah, agreed. And I never watched, I was too young to watch Steve Allen, so I've seen just
they're all YouTube
tapes
now,
and
so
clips.
I collect it, yeah.
And then Conan was sort of the heir apparent, right?
I guess.
But it didn't.
That was one of my first jobs ever, and it wasn't Letterman anymore.
Right.
And it was like Conan had just started. So I was always jaded, even though I was so grateful to be there. So I'm curious to hear. I don't have a clean opinion about Conan from that time frame, so I love hearing other people. I'm sorry.
Well, it just seemed like this guy came from out of nowhere.
He came from out of nowhere. He was a writer upstairs.
Yeah, we never knew him, and I don't think anybody thought it would work. And now the Conan show, I love its irreverency and.
Can I tell you, there was a period where we were getting weekly pickups, picked up by the week. Wow. Not
from
kidding.
affiliates around the.
No. The network was making those decisions based on the affiliates and all that other stuff. The network
I understand.
was getting 1 week like pickups at some point.
Not ordering a season.
Not even 3 months, 6 months. It
was a week.
So you
had a job week to week.
They had gotten it down to you didn't know. Yes, it was come Friday. Are we coming back on Monday kind of thing? And we were, and it went, and obviously the rest is history. But there was a time that people don't remember where it was like, oh, you work at 30 Rock? That's amazing. What show? Conan? Oh, well. and whoever the next guy, will you be there too? Like, it was that kind of the question. You know, people were concerned about job security.
I heard there was a show like that out in California where they would just pick up writers at Home Depot. Week after week. That's a joke. That's a bit. I tried. I swing and a miss. Sorry.
Well, if you had attached it to a show, I would have thought, oh, he's really saying something here.
And I was going, and I thought, should I just abort? I can't keep up with these two. The Ryans are about the gate. They're boom, boom, boom.
That's not true. That's not true. All right. Cars. You said something before. You've done a lot of car commercials. That's definitely true. Hundreds of car commercials. Why? Why are you a comedy person doing car commercials? How did that come to be?
This is kind of funny. So, I don't know why, but because I did comedy.
That's hysterical.
I did comedy. No, I'm trying to frame it so it makes sense. But I started doing commercials, started directing ads, and one of my first real jobs was a Kia commercial back 20 some years ago.
Oh, before they were huge.
Yeah, before they were cheap cars. Yep. Like literally, it was like a $6,000 car.
Yep.
The Kia Sophia.
Sorrento and the Sophia. Yep.
Yeah. In fact, the first one we spoofed. Did you just snort?
Sophia was a little SUV typey little thing, like a little tiny samurai thing, wasn't it?
It was a little like a
high
it
car?
made a Corolla look like a Rolls Royce.
Okay.
And I was still doing stand up, on the side, but I'm directing. I did some indie films and whatnot, and I got hired because I had a comedic take. I had done a spoof movie, and this was a spoof of those pretentious Lexus Acura or
with the ball bearing,
around
and all that.
So
stuff.
Instead of the ball bearing,
literally you spoofed that actual. Do you remember
I
this?
literally spoofed that commercial. Was my first big thing, and we put dominoes on the roof of the car, and they went down. And comedian Chip Chinnery,
he's been here too.
Chip Chinnery got the part, and we did a bunch of commercials. And I'll never forget when Paul Provenza, director of the Aristocrats.
Yeah.
Not the Aristocats, that's a Disney classic.
Poster of the Green Room.
Yeah.
Host of the Green
Room, a dear man. I remember him, and I'd worked with him on the road, right? Chip Chinnery and I share the same birthday, to the day, to the year.
Oh,
but
that's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. So we always,
the year is neat, because that's neat.
It's different.
We've been on the earth the same amount of time.
Provenza is doing in the bit in the callbacks, and he starts his thing, and he goes, Jordan, what are you doing here? Because I'm on the couch with the advertising creatives and the producer. And I go, I'm directing. I called you back. I saw the tape. You were great. This is back when you put a tape in of an audition. And then he starts to do it, and I give him some direction. He goes, okay. And he goes, no, really, you're the director? And the two guys that hired me look over like, are you sure you're a director? Like, what, is this some ruse?
Yeah.
Paul did not get the part.
I was just going to say, because this guy that we don't like seems to really like you.
Yeah. And that was a car commercial that I got based on comedy, and that launched my career.
Wow.
Chuck Meehan was the creative that brought me in, and he and I have worked on and off. We did these commercials with, Catherine Hahn from...
Sure. From everything.
I Love Dick, from Step Brothers, We Are the Millers. She has a new show, too. I should probably mention that.
Bad Words. We love her in Bad Words.
Bad Words.
So
look
funny.
at me. So good.
So we did some Chrysler spots with her, dancing on a minivan.
I love those spots. I know them.
Yeah. So that has all sprung from... I call it the tree of Chuck, because my friend Chuck gave me that first chance, and then other people see that you do cars. And there's an actor, Pat Finn, he was on Seinfeld, and he's been on a lot of what's the show? The Middle. He's on The Middle.
Okay.
Right? And he and I do Toyota commercials for the Phoenix Valley Toyota Group every
Brilliant.
year since 2005.
Holy smokes.
We just did them 2 weeks ago, and the agency, they're the best people in the world, the agency folks, and Pat Finn and I have been, I mean, that's
How big
like,
is their dealer group that they have their own agency for regionals?
that,
I mean, this is big.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is big. So they have, I think there's 11 or 12, it's a consortium of dealers
Right.
that pool their money. But if, like, the common man right now or woman, I say man, because no
We
one
know.
says common woman.
We know.
Common person watching the show
It sounds crazy.
is like, Jordan, we know those Toyota commercials with Jan from Toyota, like the Cellathon.
Right.
And they maybe not know that she's called Jan, but I've worked with her, and those are national. The stuff I do with this wonderful actor, Pat, he's an improv guy. He has an improv group with David Koechner. Has he been on the show?
No, but I worked with him on SNL.
Let's get David Koechner on the
I'd
show.
love to.
Right?
Yeah.
If you go to Phoenix, there's cutouts of Pat on top of the cars in the dealership on giant billboards going down the 101.
On the East Coast, there's a Bob's Furniture guy.
Yeah.
And he's probably just an actor. It's probably not even the guy. Crazy Eddie back in the day.
Yeah,
Remember,
sure.
It's the same kind of thing, right? So they're just making this guy famous as a car sales guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's a character.
He's a character. It happens to be named Pat, like Toyota Pat.
Sure.
But he gets off the airplane in Phoenix. Like, he'll do a charity golf thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And people, they want his autograph. But here's the
Morning radio,
secret.
stuff like that, probably.
They don't, people in the Phoenix area, and I'm not knocking this, I think this is great, they just assume he's a national icon. Like he is Flo from Progressive.
They don't know it's regional.
They don't
Seems
know.
and feels national.
Yeah.
That's
And we produce them at a national,
You're
the
good.
quality of
Production
it. Yeah.
it's
I mean,
why
they look
actors could do advertisements overseas and not domestically before that was the thing.
Huge. Yeah.
It looked like it was everywhere, but it was really just in France.
like, right. And the French people think it's global.
Right.
For relaxing times, make it Suntory time. It's kind of similar.
Totally.
But I hope this is interesting to the viewers. Because, I mean, it's shop talk. I think it's interesting, but who knows?
I'm fascinated.
cares?
I could talk to you all day.
Fascinating.
I mean, we almost did. We kind of forgot to start the show.
You're too kind.
Where were we going with that? That's all
Hot
fascinating.
sauce. We're going to hot sauce.
Okay. You want to transition to the hot sauce? Is that what we're going to do? All right.
So this is a one of a kind. This is military grade acrylic. I made this hot sauce caddy just so I can carry it around because I
I
love
see.
hot
A nice
sauce.
tote.
But
Some hot
this is
glue.
my kids and I make this hot sauce and we sell it.
You're serious.
Yeah, and we give $1 per bottle to charity. And the charity we've had since the beginning is the National Military Family Association,
That's wonderful.
which I found out about doing the documentary I Am Battle comic available on iTunes. Because comedian Dave Attell had a button, he's in I Am Battle comic. Dave Attell had a button on his website. Not a plug, it's just like in the corner it says, donate.
Just a donate button?
Yeah, like a
That's
donate button
awesome.
to National Military Family. And I asked him about it. He goes, oh, they're great. And I went and did a show for him. And, I found out about what they're doing for kids of our deployed troops, your mom or dad's in Afghanistan or something like that. And I started digging around. I just thought they were great. I think what they're doing is great. So with I Am Battle comic, when it came out in 2017, we distributed. We just did a series of one-night events in about 10 or 12 cities. And we've given all the money to charity from the film. And then, a film has a life. So the hot sauce is perennial. So garlic serrano is our flagship flavor. It's mild. It's an everyday sauce. It's great on eggs, rice, chicken, pizza. And if you want an extra kick, we have habanero rojo. And that's a more of a vinegar-based sauce. That's a little hotter. And
I love your little bears here.
Sadly, I
bears?
drew it myself.
Love it.
That's our tagline. It's a hot sauce made by bears.
Oh, I
And
see.
This is ghost pepper, which has a
Oh,
lingering,
geez.
Oh, this is
lingering heat, as well as
Well, isn't ghost pepper the really?
it is. But here's the deal: all of our flavors at OSO Delicious are for flavor seekers. They're not burning your mouth. What's great about that one? There's a little numbing effect on the lips afterwards. And if you like to try, I stopped and got some simply salted chips.
Wow.
Because it'll just enhance the flavor.
Oh, are we supposed to do it right now?
I mean, if we can, right?
Absolutely.
We've got water.
Absolutely. Just whatever you like. I think just make a mess is probably what it's.
Let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
Okay. So garlic serrano. This is
And the tote you're taking, but you're leaving the hot sauce.
This is one of a kind. I mean, you can see
That's what I thought I was so excited
the
about it.
best design. Yeah.
So go ahead and try that on a chip.
Okay.
And this is an everyday hot sauce.
Shaken up? You shook
Yeah,
it?
I shook it. I shook
Okay.
it. It's good.
Okay. Would you like a chip here? Can I make you one?
That'd be great.
All right. This is great. We've never done a cooking segment. Although we are equipped to. You saw
Yeah,
right. The flat next door is a nice kitchen setup.
See, it's not too hot. It's very mild, but that garlic and
Enjoyable.
serrano. Yeah, it's supposed to be enjoyable. This is not like hot ones.
Did you say it was supposed to be enjoyable?
It's supposed to be enjoyable.
You know, it's kind of funny. I actually enjoy this. It's quite good.
Yeah. Now
Now I'm getting the heat. I got the garlic at first. Now I'm getting the heat. But it's not a lot of heat at all.
It's not-
I
it's
don't
not a lot. Here, let me
typically like heat. And this is the right amount. Oh,
Yep, good, good.
there you go. Load it up.
yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Now, and this is my son. My son, Jake, is in the bear suit.
Hello, Jake.
He plays Oso the bear in our commercials and videos.
This is
He-
his son.
He likes this one because it's got an extra kick. It's a habanero rojo, and they're keto friendly. They're
I love that we're making a mess on the
gluten-free.
Dave desk.
Yeah,
Isn't that
it
kind of
will
the coolest?
It will clean up, right? There's been Drew Barrymore
Well, yeah,
stood
he-
on this desk. There's been
Oh,
more.
that's good. There's a hidden Mickey there. He did, I feel like, far worse than whatever we're doing.
It'll clean up.
Yeah.
So the habanero rojo is going to.
But more importantly, these chips are great. Where do we get these? Are these available on Amazon?
no,
Starbucks, simply salted.
we're not plugging the chips. The chips are merely a delivery vessel.
Oh, I see.
Delivery method. I enjoy your son bear suit guy's favorite.
What's your son's name?
Jake.
Jake,
I
you
have
said
4
that.
children. Jake. It's interesting. Jake is my oldest son. He dresses up in a bear suit, and we've been to like First Friday's food truck night in Venice.
Oh, yeah, we used to
and
go
we
to that.
gave hot sauce to people to try. And my son Ben, who's a young director, he
Wow, look at you.
he videos the commercials. My daughter Gigi is a marketing major at UT. She's doing a photo shoot for Christmas.
There you go.
And my daughter Gabby wants nothing to do with this.
There you go. Is she just not into hot sauces, or she doesn't want the family business?
She's
or
busy.
just-
She's a busy gal.
What'd she do?
She's at USC in the
Oh,
School
she's
of Dramatic Arts.
Oh, no kidding. What's she want to do? Is she going to be an actor?
She's an actress, dancer, musical theater. She does it all.
Awesome.
All talented kids. So it's a family project, which is why we give $1 per bottle. Where do I say this?
Right here.
We give $1 per bottle that we break, sell, give away, open on the show to nationalmilitaryfamily.com.
No
That's
kidding.
incredible.
.org.
Bravo.
I think it's .org.
.org, sure.
Yeah. So it's not a lot of money. It's a hobby, right?
Yeah, but it's a
but
nice
we're
thing.
trying to help
You're doing
and
something awesome.
Every little bit.
And I think you indulging me with this hopefully will bring a little bit of awareness that when, and you know this from your trip, that our troops, when people volunteer and serve, and I'm a snowflake liberal, okay? But when a family member serves, the whole family pays the price.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Right?
interesting.
We did. There's a lot of awareness that is coming to that element of like, it's not just you out here fighting. Your kids are back home. They miss you horribly. Here's ways to communicate with them. They had books. The soldiers could read on tape and send them to their kids. It was really cool.
And Skype must change the whole dynamic, right? Zoom, Skype,
yes
FaceTime.
and no, there's not service everywhere. I thought that too. Like easy, like we fixed this, and they're like, people don't have service everywhere where they can talk to. So sending stuff on tapes helps.
Huh.
They should have like a video booth with a high-speed internet. You know what disgusted me, being at Bagram Air Force Base in Afghanistan and then bases in Kuwait and other places, and maybe or may not Iraq, I can't really say, that the internet service was not free to rank-and-file servicemen or women. That they have to pay, can I curse?
Sure.
Yeah.
That they have to fucking pay for internet serving our country at that wage.
Yeah. They had stores for like normal stuff that we all went to by the end to get a shirt, and they're like, no, they buy shirts.
Yeah. Back to the hot sauce. Here we go.
Right.
Sorry to bring us down.
Sure.
This is my personal favorite.
But that's going to be too hot for us.
No,
It's not?
because OSO Delicious hot sauce is made for the flavor seeker, not the mouth burner. Okay. So, but it's going to take a few
Say whatever
seconds.
you want. I'm already clearing out here.
Look at this. Look at this. And just a couple drops.
All right. Here we go. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Whoop.
That's a lot.
More than a couple drops.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yep.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So,
And you're going to want to. It's going to take about 15 seconds
Oh, yeah.
to open up, like a wine opens up.
oh,
Yeah,
I feel
but-
it happening already.
Right? It's not too hot though.
I'm still a little nervous. I feel it. I feel it in my face. Like in my. I feel the sweat coming out of my face. Well, you saw me before. I kept going back. It is addictive. I'll give you that. And it wasn't the chips, because I went for just a chip to see if that was it, and it wasn't it. It didn't do it. I needed this stuff.
Each flavor has a little bit of opioid in it.
That would explain it.
You feel it though?
Keeps them coming back.
You feel it coming? It's not
Yeah,
too hot.
No, but you're exactly right. It's not affecting my mouth. I'm getting all of the other stuff as if I had something really hot, but without well, it's creeping up on me a little bit. It's not bad, though.
It's not a bad
Creeping
thing.
up
It's
on
a
me
good
little
thing.
bit. But I am noticing more in the head. Like I can feel the sinuses and stuff like that.
It kind of clears it up a little bit. Like I'm feeling it right now. Open up in my mouth.
Yeah, breathing helps you.
Take a breath, and there's a bit of a sting. It's like a wonderful bee sting on the lips.
Are you?
That's our sales pitch. We're still working things out.
Girls had makeup like this a while ago. We're good.
I remember that.
My
the bee
friend
sting.
came with it. My friend came up with it.
The bee sting?
Doo-wop,
Yes.
lip gloss, or lip...
The lip balm that puffed him up puffed
For
up the lips?
bee-stung lips, it was doo-wop. It was Laura DeLuisa, who was hang on, I'm going to blow your mind. It was the same person who cut Carrie Russell's hair on Felicity.
That was her?
She was the hairstylist on Felicity,
my.
and she and the makeup person from Felicity, Christina something or other, who I can't remember, were two Italian girls, hence doo-wop.
Uh-huh.
That's where the name of the company came from.
That's
and their first product
crazy.
was eye gels. You remember the eye gels?
Yes.
And then later, lip venom.
Lip
venom.
Yes.
venom, that's it.
Lip venom for bee-stung lips.
And-
And then all of their things were tested on actors, not animals, which was the coolest tag I'd ever seen.
That's funny.
Tested on actors, not animals.
Why was that a look that people aspired to have?
Well, it hasn't changed. They've just turned to injections and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Well, I guess you're right.
They've made it a lot worse than just puffing
You
up
still
your
have a
lip.
little
Apparently
residual.
boys
right?
like
It's good.
fish with big lips. It was on the SNL we just watched with J-Lo.
Right.
I haven't seen that one
Fish
yet.
lips.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a fun show.
It's half and half for me.
Yeah.
Some stuff was really good, and some stuff just, all right, ready for
The
that.
funny stuff is so good, but that lip thing was real.
All right. Comedy booms we got through. How
Got
about
comedy.
Flying Tigers?
Well, you mentioned working at Letterman.
Yeah.
And I did it when I was a comedian. I did a show in Columbus, Ohio. And one night, Jack Hanna is in the audience. And I grew up in a small town called Mount Vernon, Ohio, home of the original Center
on.
Square,
I know.
Paul Lynn.
This is amazing. Yes, of course. That's amazing.
By the way, if you buy all three, it's called the Flavor Seeker Fun Pack.
Oh, I see.
The Flavor Seeker Fun Pack.
So-
you get one of each, and that's $3 to the charity because there's 3 bottles.
That's right.
How did you? What? Why did you? What does Mount Vernon mean to you two?
No, nothing. I just I don't want to say it here. I used to date somebody from Ohio, and I spent some time around there.
Oh, wow. In Mount Vernon?
In and around that whole area.
That's hillbilly country.
She was in Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, Mount
Which
Pleasant.
is-
Who was it? I have no idea.
People from Mount Pleasant
very
would come to
lovely
Mount
girl.
Vernon for supplies.
Is that true?
Yeah, oh yeah.
It was a big deal that somebody had a bus bench. You know what I mean? Like they were
Yeah.
a realtor with the bus bench. Oh, they're like you were talking about the regionals before. Like,
Yeah.
oh, they're famous because they've got the bus bench.
Sure, sure.
That's a really big
There
attorney.
was an actor once who had some bus ads in North Hollywood.
No.
Yeah, yeah. What is the
Like
guy's
drumming
name?
up his own
Well, like
business?
like Dennis Woodruff, the actor with the car, his name all over it, and you never seen that guy? He's got a paper mache car that changes all the time. I'm sure he's still around.
No.
Yeah, yeah. People have put him in movies, and I mean, he's been around since the
Is this
80s
like,
and 90s.
Like Radio Man in New York? Like the extra who's always in all the stuff?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Something like that. Okay. So this guy had, I want to say, Steve Mozina is, we have to Google that, but that's what's popping in my mind. He had bench ads in North Hollywood, and I tried to cast him in a commercial. Same with Dennis Woodruff. I tried to cast in a commercial, and they were both too busy. They had to go to the printers and get their flyers made. Like,
They're too busy doing their own little hustle.
they're too busy promoting themselves as actors to actually act in a job I was given. Because I just wanted to hire the guy because he was on a bench ad near my house.
Riot.
Yeah.
Too busy pretending to be an actor to actually act.
Actually, yes. Crazy, right?
Well, yeah, but doesn't that say something about Los Angeles?
Well, it's like Angelina. What is she famous for?
Angeline.
Angeline.
She
yeah.
drives a pink Corvette.
I don't never seen her in anything. Does she have an IMDb? And I'm not knocking her.
No,
I'm
I
sure
don't
she's a
think
lovely
so. I
woman.
think she's famous for being famous. When I was, I think Get Shorty, and I think of all those movies, just any LA movie had, the Angeline poster or the billboard in it. And they would kind of, from that and come down. And then when I moved out here.
Says Hollywood.
Yeah, and I talk, I just saw somebody in a pink Corvette. He's like, oh, that was Angeline. I'm like, this is a real thing that happens? Somebody just drives around?
I didn't know that.
So you brought her up. What does she do?
I don't know. She
Was a
just
great
drives
example.
around. But wait, what was it? Oh, Jack Hanna. Jack Hanna is the zoo director
Speaking of
in
Angelina.
Columbus.
Yes.
And Jack Hanna,
Director Emeritus.
correct. And he would always go on David Letterman with an armadillo, with
This is Mrs. Ryan's favorite segment, just so you know.
oh, really? What do we call it?
The Jack Hanna animal segments were her absolute favorite.
Oh, I thought you
funny.
meant this, talking about Jack Hanna. Like, this
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
regular feature of
And
your
this
show.
is the
That
segment we call...
Jack Hanna stories. First of all, he and his wife, Susie, are the nicest people in the world.
I love hearing that.
And Susie knows everything about animals. I'm not saying Jack Hanna doesn't, but I know his wife is an animal expert. And for your viewers, Jack Hanna was sort of the Joan Embry of the Letterman show, and he was kind of bumbling, and he was always funny, and
Dave always knew more about what was going on than Jack did, it seemed.
And
that, to me,
I'm
was
sure it's
part
a
of the fun.
shtick. Yeah, I think it's a shtick. So Jack Hanna's in the audience, and I'm doing stand-up, but having grown up in Ohio, and I was back there for a gig, like at the Ramada Inn or something.
Bananas.
First Boom.
Oh, I
First
see.
Boom.
That's right, the 80s.
First Boom 80s, a lot of hotels putting a vinyl banner up in the bar to make it a comedy club.
When you mentioned the basement, that's what I was picturing. Holiday Inn on Route 9 in Poughkeepsie. It was Bananas Comedy Club.
Bananas was a hard gig to get booked in.
You're serious? You remember Bananas?
Yeah, I remember Bananas.
Treehouse Comedy Club.
I remember
was ours,
Treehouse,
of course,
yeah.
down in Connecticut.
So Jack Hanna's in the audience, and I'm, shooting the breeze. I'm doing a little crowd work, a little kibitzing, right? And he invites me after the show, come to the zoo and get a tour. Oh, wow. And then I performed at the zoo's Christmas party because I was in town. And then we just kept up a friendship. And then I'm back in Los Angeles. I'm living in Los Angeles at this time, right? But I'd flown back to Ohio for a series of hell gigs. So Jack calls me up. Hey, Jordan, listen, I can't make my flight, but I already shipped the animals. Can you go to Flying Tigers, which is a freight airline?
The name of it.
Could you go to Flying Tigers and pick up the animals? It's just 3 animals, and I'll be out there tomorrow, and just meet me at ABC because I'm doing the LA morning show, and it really helped me out. And I'm like, Jack, whatever you need. Sure. So I drove a Yugo at the time. Your car people will know that was like a Fiat with a Soviet block.
You have no idea. They all know because they're back.
The Yugo is back?
This is a sidebar for later, but I know at least 3 people who have just recently bought and either are restoring or taking to car shows Yugos.
Well,
and they're not the only ones. That's the car that's out right now. That's the hot, like a late car, the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
They're they're tracing back all that old stuff.
my Yugo was 5-speed.
Mm-hmm.
No air.
4-speed.
What's that?
5-speed, 4-speed.
Oh, maybe it was a 4-speed.
Yeah.
No air conditioning, because that would be like a kick in the nuts, right?
You wouldn't have had the power for the AC.
So I remember having to do a gig in San Diego at the Improv, and I was going to drive down the couple hours in the summer. And I said, you know what? I need a sunroof. So I go to Sears. It's where America shops. I get the circular saw.
Yep.
And I just cut the entire roof almost like a sardine can. And I left. There was a crossbar that for stability.
Did.
Yeah, I left that and I
Rollover
wrapped
safety.
it in duct tape and whatnot, and then just went. And then like 3 or 4 days later, I bought a tarp and I Velcroed it. The one thing I learned is I had to make a duct tape spoiler on the top of the windshield because the air would
Up and over and in.
yeah, and it would
Buffeting. They call that buffeting.
buffeting. It would buffet. And when I got rid of the car like a year or 2 later, I gave it to this like Cars for Kids or one of those vocational, not like a vocational school will do whatever work on them, and they give the money.
It's going to go towards learning.
Yes, I actually got. I think I increased the Blue Book value of the car by cutting off the roof because I got a
Now
tax
it's a custom job.
I got a tax donation credit worth more than what I put into the car, and I think I financed a Yugo.
Oh, that's amazing.
I was kind of a tycoon. So I take my Yugo and I go to Flying Tigers, right? And Jack is like, "It's an African spring hare," which is like a little Tasmanian
Critter,
devil,
yeah.
little critter. There's Tasmanian.
We've had one on the show.
You've had an African spring hare on the show.
With Randy Carlson.
Randy, Bucket Box.
I think you'd want to go with the ghost pepper if you were going to eat an African spring hare.
It was stuffed, but it was a little character buddy that somebody brought
Oh,
on.
it wasn't alive.
No, it was taxidermied. But it was that. It was just the spring
That's a
hare.
small world that an African spring hare has been on.
Yeah.
So there's that. There was another critter, like gopher-like critter, a mammal, and then this Tupperware container with African millipedes. So
Highly poisonous.
Highly poisonous, but I don't know that. Oh, gosh. So I take him back to my little studio apartment in Hollywood. I let the spring hare run around because it's all freaky.
Yeah.
And
They
I
got that
kind of
weird tail, too.
cajole it back in the cage with a golf club. I had a 9-iron or something. I didn't hurt it by any stretch. I was just like, kind of shepherd it. Yeah. And I go to ABC in Prospect. In where is that? Like Los Feliz.
ABC, yeah.
ABC. I go to ABC.
So
Jack's going to do the morning show. George, thank you so much. Oh man. And I go, well, here's the spring hare. It's like in a doggy cage. Here's the gopher thing. And then I hand him the Tupperware, and he goes, "Oh, you," and he shakes it, and it's just it's like a rattle.
Oh my god!
And he goes, "You didn't give him any air?" Oh. And I go, I didn't know. I just, in hindsight, it's very stupid of me to think that they were staying fresh.
I don't feel that anyone. You got looped into this.
Yeah. So he opened it up, and they were just brittle. They look like long pieces of rope. They're kind of thick. And he goes, "It's probably better you didn't, because if you touch them, they're highly poisonous." So he put them aside and talked about the other.
Right?
They were dead.
Yeah,
they
crispy.
were
Yeah, sure.
They were dead as dead can get.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Mrs. Ryan's laughing and snorting.
I wonder how many times that's happened to him.
Can't help it.
And you're friends with Jack Hanna now.
Correct.
I mean, that's
yes.
amazing.
Yes.
To me, he's just such a warm. I don't know the man, but I mean, just seeing him all the years, he just
Nice
seems like
as-
such a any animal lover generally.
Yeah,
is
nice as
pretty,
can be.
Pretty sweet.
It's
And his
such a
wife knows
funny
as much, if not more.
combination of animal things.
Right before we started the show, and we think about wrapping it up, but you mentioned Jerry Lewis because you saw what I was doing
Yes!
here. And can you tell me about that? Because I don't know this reference, and I loved Jerry Lewis. I love Martin and Lewis. I love all of the stuff. My dad was a huge comedy fan, and he was from an older generation, so I got all of that stuff from him. Abbott and Costello, all of that came from there.
It's interesting because I grew up loving and wanting to be like Steve Martin, which was a silly, free kind of zany comedy, madcap, which I thought was it was kind of the first meta comedian because he was making fun of being a comedian. Like even, hey, I've got happy feet and let's get some on.
Even from the Arrow to the Fly Dini, I mean, it was all kind of making fun of what we do.
Yes.
Like pulling the curtain back.
Absolutely. I mean, Fly Dini, I think did he only ever do that on The Tonight Show?
I only ever saw it on the famous Carson clip. Yeah. You remember that one where he's got, I don't want to give away how he does it. Yeah, he's in a tuxedo and he's got awesome stuff happening.
I've seen that bit.
So clever, so
and
creative.
I loved how Steve Martin would always, in fact, I never want to meet him because I'm afraid, what they say. I loved how every appearance on a talk show, he came up with a special bit. And like Bill Murray on Letterman would always have a bit that was just for that show. Yep. Okay.
They did the work. They put in the work for the
appearance. You know who else does that? Paul Rudd does that now.
Oh, very much on Conan, especially.
Yeah, when they show the
clip of the Mac and Me, your favorite.
I love that.
It's her favorite. That one's inside baseball for her.
Comedian Rory Scovel is a favorite.
Okay.
And he on Conan has done some very special things as well. Shout out.
Doing stand-up or panel? Or
stand-up. Like he, and I want to say it was John Daly, I may be getting that wrong, but Conan said how he mistakenly booked two people at the same time, so they both came out and did their stand-up at the same time, talking at the same time. It's a great clip.
Whoa!
It's a great. You got
doing different material, but both delivering it
at the same time.
But
it's not happenstance. Like it's kind of aligned.
Is it sort of
It's orchestrated, I should say.
Oh, okay. I see.
It's deftly planned.
Well, there's the two brothers.
The Sklar brothers, yeah.
Not the Sklar brothers.
Yeah.
I love the Sklar brothers, but different brothers.
They're twins.
Yes. Also, these guys, I believe, are also twins. Slightly darker skin than the Sklar
brothers.
Oh, yeah. And they're shorter, glasses. Sure. So funny.
Yeah, they're very funny.
I can't think of their names.
Another
brother, they're on Conan, too.
You know why you can't think of their names? Because they're black and you're a racist. And I just wanted to, it's really why I came on the show, is to call you out on that.
Well, I think we had a good run.
Yeah, it was good. I'm leaving. No, I visualize those two guys because they had an HBO show that I would watch.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. But anyway, they were on Conan, too. Sorry to take your thing.
So, you're not a racist. He's not a racist. I swear.
I love everybody. No. I truly.
Jerry Lewis.
Because I never knew him to even do a Desk and Chairs show. I never even saw it.
I'm sure one of your viewers is going to fact check me on this, but Jerry Lewis had the Desk, had a talk show. It's probably in the 60s. And his controller was under the desk, and he could take camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. It's probably a 4-camera show. Mm-hmm. And that he knew, as he was talking to the guest, just his hand under the desk would...
Because he was such a control freak.
Because he was a control freak.
He was like, whoever was directing the show, Jerry apparently knew better.
Yeah.
And that was kind of I think that was sort of who Jerry was.
Well, and aside from the behind-the-scenes shenanigans, like there are people my age and older that love Jerry Lewis. And just like it cracks them up to go, "Hey, lady!"
Yeah, me too.
And the reason I brought up Steve Martin is because I remember showing my boys The Jerk when they were like 10 or 12.
Did they get it?
And I'm laughing. I'm like, he thinks the cans are exploding. It's a guy with a rifle, and they're like, "Yeah, Dad, we get it. It's not funny.
There's cans over here too."
And to me, I would just laugh and laugh. And they're like, nah, not good.
The Optograph, none of it? I think almost every bit of that movie is perfection to me. Comedy perfection.
Yeah.
From not having rhythm, speaking of a racist, from not having rhythm, I was born a poor black child.
My wife, who I love dearly, Jeanette, who's a
disclaimer.
wonderful filmmaker in her own right. Oh. Fun fact, she was a choreographer, and she choreographed music videos, and her most famous... was Sir Mix-a-Lot's hit "Baby Got Back."
Stop it.
So I tell her she invented twerking.
Yes, it's true.
And it's true. That was there isn't a lot of choreography, to speak of, but that move is the I
like big butts, and I cannot lie.
Correct.
The other fellas can't deny.
Yeah.
When a girl walks in with an itty bitty thing,
Itty bitty waist.
and a round thing in your face, you get sprung.
Yeah.
Wow.
You get sprung, which
Yeah.
didn't rhyme any of the previous lyrics.
I think they were making a point there.
We were talking about the jerk the other day, and how the OptiGrab, was the downfall of Nathan R.
Johnson. Naven R. Johnson.
Naven R. Johnson. And she goes, that might happen to you with the hot sauce. OSO Delicious, available online at osodelicious.org. The Flavor Seeker Fun Pack is the one to get.
So you're going to be cramped up writing 39-cent checks to everybody for
she goes, someone may get sick. Like, what if you had a bad batch? Or, like, you gotta watch out for that.
Can you just put a disclaimer on there? Ingest at your own risk?
Maybe we could.
I mean, I wonder if that's even legal. I mean, could you just do that and then you're...
And you're off the hook?
You're clear.
I'm no lawyer, but it sounds good to me.
This is edible, but it looks like hot sauce.
I'm going to say that the Ryans told me to do it. Your Honor, the Ryans said if I put it on the side of the bottle, a disclaimer, I'd be safe.
We don't want any part of it. All right, well, we're out of time, but have you enjoyed this experience?
It went by in a flash. This has been so fun. Thank you.
Same.
Thanks for having me.
I'm hoping that you'll come back because I feel like we didn't even get to the talk show stuff. I just had so much fun hanging out with you.
Oh, likewise. This is great. And continue to do this show. And yes, I would love to come back. If you want tension, bring me back with Wayne Fetterman.
Oh, sure.
Or Chip Chinnery. Like, let's get some tension between us.
Oh, yeah.
But Wayne is a great comedy professor. He actually teaches.
There was plenty of tension here when Wayne was here because he gave me a hard time.
What did he give you a hard time about?
No, I mean, he's really good, and he's Wayne Fetterman, and he showed up as Wayne Fetterman, and we got what we asked for.
He teaches, he's an adjunct professor at USC teaching stand-up comedy.
Isn't that amazing?
And I just went to the graduation show, and it was pretty fun to see the students of Fetterman.
How would they compare with the other kids of the same age out there?
Well,
How does a Fetterman compare to just a regular?
A Fetterman student?
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Fetterman student had an edge on, and it sounds like I'm joking, but just mic technique, stage presence, getting that stand out of the way, the mechanics of stand-up. Because Wayne and I agree that you can't teach. It's the one thing you can't teach, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think you could teach someone to be funny. But the mechanics of even joke writing you could teach.
That's kind of what
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there who seem like they just work the mechanics.
Yeah, I mean, I love sitting with a non-comedy writer, comedian person and calling out. It's annoying, but calling out the punchline as soon as the setup comes up.
Sure, because you can see it coming
Because
down.
you go,
Broadway.
Hubble telescope.
That one.
Like, what do you mean? I go, because the setup is,
Hit the link.
Trump, Giuliani, Hubble telescope. That's the natural.
Everybody says.
So that made no
Natural-
sense.
Natural progression.
Yeah.
Comedy math. That's how it goes. Word math.
All right. Well, you're going to come back sometime.
I'm going to come back.
All right.
You know what we're going to talk about next time?
What? Can't wait.
Commercial directing boot camp.
Yeah, I want to find out why you dumped comedy and got into directing and all this other stuff too. I mean, that's a pretty big. All right, next time.
That's next time.
Mrs. Ryan, I've got the wrong cards here, but what do we have tomorrow?
Martina's coming tomorrow.
Oh, Martina Kwan,
Yeah.
female race car driver. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Porsche race car driver too, and a friend of ours. It's good stuff.
Where do they race in California? Oh, you got to wrap up.
There's racetracks all over the place. There are so many racetracks. Mrs. Ryan, I love you so much. We love you very much, Jordan.
You know what? Do you play clips
Yeah.
in the show?
Yeah. I mean, we watched your during the commercial your
For the hot sauce.
For
came
the
out.
hot sauce.
Oh, that my son Ben directed, and Jake was in the bear suit and everything.
all
Oh,
30
wonderful!
seconds of it.
I just did a commercial. Can I just tell you something real? Because I think this is like, of all the bullshit that I've been spewing, your viewers may appreciate this. So I got a call the week before Thanksgiving because I work a lot with Dodge, and Goldberg, the wrestler,
He's a
from
huge Mopar guy.
yeah.
Yeah, the old classic stuff, the '60s and the muscle cars.
Oh, he has a Challenger in his garage.
He's got a bunch of stuff. He's on those cars.
They're in like these balloon houses that keep them temperature controlled, so rats don't eat the ignition.
all the
or
harnesses
whatever.
and everything. Yeah,
And
that's a
he's
legitimate thing.
He's a super
right
nice
to
guy.
do it.
Yeah, super nice guy. We shot Dodge commercials for this Dodge Horsepower Challenge, where they're giving away 5 Hellcat SRT Red Eyes I'm not allowed to say the horsepower because it wasn't official and we were debating.
That, yeah.
But it's up there. It's over 843. That's all I know.
That's high.
And it was crazy. So Samuel, I would have to check my Instagram. What is Samuel's last name? Holbert. He's a stunt driver for 30 years. The nicest guy who did stunts for the Ford versus Ferrari. And we had him. We were on an airstrip in the middle of Texas, Bandera, Texas. Coincidentally, at a Warrior's Heart, like a facility a facility for veterans and first responders fighting drug abuse, PTSD.
Oh, wow.
Warrior's Heart is called, and it was just kismet that we found this place and got to learn about what they're doing. And Goldberg and the stunt driver there, and we have a camera car. It's the car with it's usually a Porsche. Do you say Porsche or Porsche?
Porsche.
Porsche. It's usually a Porsche SUV with a crane on top.
The Russian Ultimate Arm.
The Russian Ultimate Arm, the Edge Arm is another
Pursuit,
one. Pursuit. You know all those. Yeah.
Well, we worked together on some of that stuff.
Yeah. So what was fun was it's fun to be in that car as a director because it's really the team coordinating.
Yeah.
And this guy did, the first time I shot one of these, he's driving, he pulls a lever or something. I'm not a car guy. And he goes, and did a 360 and then kept going. And it's in the commercial.
That's the best.
It aired 2 days later on Thanksgiving.
A Thanksgiving commercial. Wow.
Yeah, and it was just for Thanksgiving. Just Goldberg saying Happy Thanksgiving.
That's awesome.
It's crazy.
Business is different now. That's awesome.
We love you, Jordan.
We love you.
Come back again soon.
I love you both.
We love everybody at home. Be back tomorrow with Martina Kwan.
Yeah.
Love you, Mr. Ryan. Everybody
Bravo.
else, see you later.
Do we clap?